Dominica received 3,000 rapid test kits and reagents from Venezuela as another example of solidarity among neighbours in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. China has approved 2 COVID-19 vaccine candidates for clinical trials as the number of asymptomatic cases rises. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization has warned that about 1 million people in Ethiopia are in need of food aid after swarms of locusts destroyed vast areas of farmland. From the headquarters of Telesur English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South, I'm Katrina Goss. Dominica has received 3,000 rapid test kits and reagents from Venezuela as the Bolivian Republic continues to assist its neighbours in the fight against COVID-19. At the handover ceremony, Dominican authorities took the opportunity to echo calls for an end to the unilateral US sanctions against Venezuela.
And I'd like to call for an end to the political persecution of Venezuela. I would like to call for an end to the provocation of Venezuela. I would like to call on the international community, let us seek and find a peaceful resolution to the problems now being faced in Venezuela.
Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Hubert Minnis, provided an update on the latest figures regarding the COVID-19 pandemic this Monday.
The Ministry of Health reported 2 additional confirmed cases of COVID-19. Bringing the total number of confirmed cases in the Bahamas to 49 as of Monday, the 13th of April, 2020. 8 of the COVID-19 positive patients have died. The patients who have succumbed to COVID-19 were older in age and had significant comorbidities or conditions that are known to cause a poor outcome in COVID-19.
Electoral authorities in the Dominican Republic announced the postponement of general elections to July 5th due to the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, Haitian health authorities are working to secure the resources to face the COVID-19 epidemic. Our correspondent in the Dominican Republic, Daisy Toussaint, brings us more in the following report.
Greetings to our viewers and you in the studio. Yes, the Ministry of Health of the Dominican Republic this Tuesday issued Bulletin number 26 on the COVID-19 situation in the country, which indicates that the number of confirmed cases rose to 3,286, while 183 patients have died and 162 have recovered. It was also stated that 96 medical personnel have been reported as testing positive. It's important to stress that the Central Electoral Board, due to the national emergency sparked by the coronavirus, has rescheduled the presidential elections originally set for May, which were postponed to July the 5th, and in the case of a runoff election, it will take place on July 26th, a decision that was taken after consulting with the 22 political parties participating and civil society representatives. Meanwhile, in neighboring Haiti, on the same island as the Dominican Republic, up to Monday, April 13, the Haitian health authorities had confirmed 40 cases of COVID-19 and 3 fatalities. As soon as the first cases of coronavirus were detected in Haiti, the government decreed a state of health emergency, the closing of the borders, and the suspension of international flights, as well as the closing of schools and other business. Haiti is especially vulnerable to the impact of COVID-19 due to its fragile health system. Haitian authorities have acknowledged the limitations of the private and public hospital network, which lack all the necessary resources to tackle the pandemic, although they have assured they are working to strengthen the system. So far, this is all the information we have. Back to you in the studio.
Health workers blocked a street in Mexico City to demand more protective gear as their hospital receives increasing numbers of COVID-19 patients. Dozens of nurses, doctors and other personnel from the October 1st hospital in the Mexican capital joined the protest to demand safer working conditions. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador announced during his daily press conference on Monday that private hospitals had agreed to provide half of their installed bed capacity for public sector patients not suffering from COVID-19 between April 23rd and May 23rd, when the pandemic is expected to reach its peak in the country. Mexico has reported more than 5,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 332 deaths.
They sent us the specifications in writing, the protocol. How am I going to follow them? How will my colleagues follow them if we don't have the minimum required equipment? Not even these face masks.
Almost 800 Bolivians stranded in Chile due to the coronavirus pandemic will undergo a quarantine period in the city of Iquique after the governments of Chile and Bolivia agreed to allow them to cross the border.
If one person gets infected, we will all be exposed. We are taking measures. We try to take care of ourselves, protect ourselves, wash our hands, disinfect. But as we are now, obviously, we are exposed to getting sick. We are all afraid.
The president does not give a reason, not an answer so far or anything. We don't know why she does not want to let us through, because the truth is that she's afraid that we are infected.
The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases continues to increase across the Latin American region, as Brazil, leading the infection tally with over 24,000, could have 12 times more cases of the new coronavirus than those that are being officially reported by the government, according to a study. Researchers at a consortium of Brazilian universities and institutes examined the ratio of cases and said that the much higher than expected death rate in Brazil indicates there are many more cases of the virus than those that are being reported, with the study estimating only 8% of cases are being officially reported. Moving to Peru, the number of COVID-19 confirmed cases tops 9,700, while the death toll in the South American nation surpassed 215. Meanwhile, Chile has gone past 7,500 COVID-19 cases, including 82 deaths, while over 2,300 people have recovered from the infection as of Tuesday. Chile's Minister of Health, Jaime Manilich, said that patients declared as recovered after completing 14 days of diagnosis, or those who had unfortunately passed away from the disease. More stories coming up after this very short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Further restrictions have been imposed in the Chinese capital, Beijing, due to fears of a new wave of coronavirus cases arriving from other regions of the country. After having controlled the epidemic, China banned the entry of foreigners into its territory for fear of imported cases. However, Beijing authorities have gone one step further, imposing a mandatory quarantine of 14 days on all people arriving in the city from other parts of the country, even if they have tested negative for the coronavirus. All students who return to the capital must undergo the quarantine period and test negative in order to return to their schools. On the other hand, all hotel guests must have tested negative in the 7 days prior to their stay. China approved 2 COVID-19 vaccine candidates for clinical trials on Tuesday, according to the State Council Coronavirus Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism.
The 2 newly approved vaccines, which are actually a technical approach, belongs to the novel coronavirus inactivator vaccine. The inactivator vaccine is composed of a complete virus, and its preparation process requires inactivation of its pathogenicity through psychochemical methods and inactivation verification, and still maintains the immunogenicity of the virus through the preparation process, such as purification process. The candidate vaccine is prepared. Candidate vaccines can stimulate the body's immune response to produce antibodies to achieve protection. This is the inactivator vaccine.
Heads of state of the 10 members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations held a video conference with their counterparts from China, Japan and South Korea this Tuesday to discuss the crisis threatening their economies, as millions of people remain in lockdown amid the novel coronavirus pandemic.
The COVID-19 has had an impact in the socio-economic life of all countries. All ASEAN member states are making every effort to combat the pandemic and its repercussions on our people's livelihood and industries, especially the service sector, which accounts for 30% of ASEAN's GDP, and the challenge it poses to our social stability and welfare. It is in these grim hours that the solidarity of the ASEAN community shines like a beacon in the dark.
Spain has been on lockdown for a month, and as the epidemic curve appears to be flattening, the authorities are planning to lift the restrictions. Some non-essential workers have been allowed to return to work as part of the process to gradually lift the lockdown measures. Since the start of the epidemic, Spain has reported over 172,000 confirmed cases and more than 18,000 fatalities, according to official figures. Over 64,000 patients have recovered from the virus, representing almost 40% of cases, making Spain the country with the highest rate of hospital discharges in the world. Figures also show a fall in the number of new cases, with almost 700 less reported than a day ago. COVID-19 has claimed more than 20,000 lives in lockdown Italy as of Monday, while the total number of cases has surpassed 160,000. Speaking during a press conference on Monday, the head of the Civil Protection Department, Angelo Borelli, explained that there were 566 new fatalities, compared with the 431 reported on Sunday. Meanwhile, there were 1,224 new recoveries, bringing the total number of recovered patients since the epidemic broke out in the northern region of Italy in February to more than 35,000. Of those infected, more than 28,000 people are currently hospitalized, an increase of 176 on the previous day. The COVID-19 death toll in the United Kingdom reached 11,329 as of Sunday afternoon, marking a daily increase of 717, the Department of Health and Social Care reported on Monday. As of Monday morning, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the UK had surpassed 88,000. Chairing Monday's Downing Street daily press briefing, Foreign Secretary and First Secretary of State Dominic Raab said the British government does not expect to relax or lift the coronavirus lockdown this week. Downing Street confirmed Sunday that Prime Minister Boris Johnson was discharged from hospital to continue his recovery at his country retreat. However, it was not revealed when the Prime Minister will return to work. Charities in the UK are sounding the alarm regarding the toll the coronavirus is taking in care homes, as new figures have pointed to many more deaths than those reported so far. The official health ministry toll only includes deaths in hospitals.
Just as the hospital curve is flattening, the care home curve is steepening, and that's something that is a big concern, because we're trying to anticipate a change in government guidelines on use of PPE, requiring more PPE, and also the increasing number of residents with symptoms and that we suspect could have COVID-19. And at the moment, Britain is at about 12,000, and it doesn't include any care home deaths to date. So we need accurate, we need to have the true and accurate and honest, accurate figures on the death figure to see where the curve is going, and including care homes is essential to get.
The United States is the global epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic, with over 603,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases and more than 25,000 fatalities. However, US President Donald Trump has claimed he has total power to lift the nationwide coronavirus lockdown and has pointed to May 1st as the date to reopen the US economy. Our correspondent Jorge Estoso brings us the latest.
Thank you. The governors on the East Coast and the West Coast are getting together, creating alliances in order to coordinate the way that they believe that is the best to reopen the economy. We're talking that in the East Side, 7 states have already working together with New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and other ones are working together. On the West Coast, we're talking Oregon, we're talking Washington and California, same thing, trying to implement in an orderly way a reopening of the economy. There's an agreement among experts and even people inside the government of President Trump that is not real. His proposal of opening the economy for May 1st and that has created a lot of tensions between governors and the president about who has the authority to do so. According to the Constitution, the 10th Amendment says that it is the states, the ones that have the power and not the president. Precisely yesterday night in a press conference, President Trump insisted that he was the one who has it, so the clashes went on through the evening and even this morning, and therefore there still and remains to be seen at what point the reopening of the economy of the United States be done. We are back to you now.
And we're taking one final break now, but stay with us for more. Welcome back to From the South. The Iranian government vowed on Monday to protect the population from the economic impact of the COVID-19 epidemic. Iran has now seen over 4,500 COVID-19 deaths and is the worst affected country in the Middle East. According to government spokesman Ali Rabi, the goal of the government is to protect the health and life of the population and address the economic and social consequences of the pandemic. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani announced last week the reopening of low-risk companies with the aim of keeping the economy running, which is severely impacted by US sanctions. The decision came into force on Saturday in all provinces and should be applied from April 18th in the Iranian capital. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan announced this Tuesday that the current lockdown to contain the coronavirus is to continue for another 2 weeks. However, while schools and public places will remain closed, certain industries, such as construction, are to reopen from Wednesday. Reiterating the need for people to continue to exercise self-discipline, the Prime Minister warned that a spike in coronavirus cases would pose a challenge to the health system, which lacks testing and quarantine facilities. Khan also stressed that there would be tough punishments for anyone found to be hoarding or smuggling goods, as well as those involved in creating artificial shortages or causing price hikes. Pakistan has reported almost 6,000 COVID-19 cases and 96 fatalities. India extended its nationwide lockdown on Tuesday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi warned of economic sacrifices to save lives, with the number of coronavirus cases surpassing 10,000. Economic growth forecasts in the wake of the pandemic point towards rising levels of unemployment. However, the Prime Minister urged Indians to maintain the discipline shown in the first 3 weeks of the country's lockdown. Modi stressed in a televised address to the nation that there is no comparison between the economic urgencies and the lives of Indian citizens. Modi spoke as the latest government data showed the number of people infected with the coronavirus in India had reached 10,541, while more than 300 deaths have been reported. South Africa says it is succeeding in combating the coronavirus epidemic, with a nationwide lockdown showing clear signs of containing the disease. Food parcels were distributed in inner city Johannesburg on Monday to help people unable to work amid the lockdown. Professor Abdul Karim, chair of the government's advisory committee, claimed on Tuesday that South Africa's success in halting an exponential rise in cases was unprecedented. He said it was clear that by acting early and introducing a nationwide lockdown 2 weeks ago, the virus had been brought under control at around 65 new cases a day. South Africa has so far reported 2,415 cases and a death toll of 27. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization has warned that about 1 million people in Ethiopia are in need of food aid after swarms of locusts destroyed vast areas of farmland. Working with the Ethiopian government, the UN found that desert locusts had damaged about 200,000 hectares of mostly sorghum and cornfields. Kenya and Somalia have also been badly affected this year and have used planes to spray pesticides in an effort to protect crops and pasture from the swarms. In Uganda, the army was also deployed to help spray pesticide. Flight bans imposed because of the coronavirus have hampered these efforts, but the food crisis after the locust plague is set to worsen the consequences of the coronavirus restrictions. Nigerian musician B.J. Sachs performed for frontline workers and patients at the mainland hospital, Yaba, in the city of Lagos this Sunday, raising spirits in the midst of the coronavirus epidemic. And we finish this news brief with these uplifting images. Remember to check out our website, telesurenglish.net, and to follow us on social media. For Telesur English, I'm Katrina Goss. Thank you for watching and enjoy the music.